Welcome back, everybody. It's Zach here, bringing you guys another fantasy football video. This one I'll be going over the quarterback, the tight end, and the defense positions, going over which players or teams, I guess, that I'd be looking to stream this week. This will be a video that I put out every single week for you guys. Typically, running back and wide receiver, you're looking generally to not necessarily be streaming those positions. It's a little bit more obvious. If there is a clear candidate for those two positions, I'll be sure to bring those up on this video each week as well. But typically, the positions that people are going to be streaming on a week-to-week basis are going to be the quarterback, tight end, and defense positions. That's because those positions are, one, not necessarily as commonly drafted as like season-long starters. A big reason for that is just because you can really work to play matchups in those and really help maximize output that way. So these will be hopefully useful videos. Obviously, if you guys have Josh Allen, you're not looking to stream that. If you've got Brock Bowers, you're not streaming tight end. I think generally speaking, you can kind of plan to stream defense almost regardless. But hopefully these videos are useful for you guys. If there's any positions or players I don't mention, let me know in the comments below. And any agreements or anything like that, let me know in the comments below as well. I love interacting with you guys there. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. So it's week 1 of the NFL season, and I think that we're going to start the season off with a really great performance from Trevor Lawrence. I think he's actually got a shot to be great all season long, to be honest. You got Liam Cohen coming in, hopefully bringing a much more innovative, modern offense than what Trevor Lawrence has been a part of in the past. And, you know, the proof's in the pudding, right? We saw how great this Tampa Bay offense was last season under Liam Cohen. The best season Baker's had in his entire career, and hopefully Liam Cohen can help unlock that for Trevor Lawrence. On top of that, you get the addition of Travis Hunter. There's a lot to be optimistic about what this Jaguars offense can do this season, and you're not going to get a softer landing than this. You get to open week 1 with a matchup against the Carolina Panthers. I know people thought the Bengals defense was bad last year. The Panthers were actually worse. So the Panthers were by far the worst defense in the entire NFL last season. There is a small risk of a slow start here. Obviously, again, you've got a new play caller, just some new pieces in the offense, so it's possible this team starts a little bit slow. But again, the landing could not be any softer here than the Carolina Panthers in Week 1. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to give us a great Week 1 output, and I have no problem starting him as probably a top 12 guy this week. I'm going to stay in the same game for my second quarterback stream of the week here. Bryce Young really stands out to me as a guy who we saw come on strong over the back half of last season. I think we could find ourselves in a shootout in that game between the Panthers and the Jaguars. Two defenses that certainly leave something to be desired, and two offenses that I think everyone sort of expects to trend upward. Keep an eye on Tedero McMillan's practice reports here. If he happens to miss this game, I would be a lot less optimistic about Bryce Young in this one. I just think it'd be tough for Xavier Legette and company to really keep the offense moving. But if McMillan's there, I feel really great about Bryce Young this week. I hope generally you can do a little bit better, but this is not the worst break glass option. I think Bryce Young's a guy that could be like a fringe top 15 guy. You know, more mobile than people give him credit for. And if you're in one of those leagues, like if you need a super flex stream, he's fantastic. I think he's probably going to be a fringe top 15 play this week. And if you need him, I think you could do a lot worse than Bryce Young in week 1. And we're going to dig really deep here, but Joe Flacco is not a guy that should go unmentioned here. He definitely didn't get drafted, right? So if you're looking at whoever you drafted at quarterback, realizing you just don't love the week 1 matchup or something, and you were planning on streaming the position anyway, I think you could do a lot worse than Joe Flacco in week 1. Gets the luxury of a week 1 matchup versus the Bengals. We know this is a team in Cleveland that's going to lose this game, in all likelihood at least. It means they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton, and we've seen Joe Flacco be plenty fantasy relevant before. The weapons in Cleveland, not all that bad. You've got Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, Cedric Tillman. You can make that work, and then pair that with the fact that Quinshon Judkins has not been a part of the team all offseason. This is not a team that's going to be able to run the ball very effectively in all likelihood. So if they're going to move the ball, it's going to have to be through Joe Flacco. And we've seen Joe Flacco go on runs even over the last couple of years of being fantasy relevant. Could be really fun to watch Joe Flacco again to start the season. I think he probably starts the year with a pretty solid week 1 performance for fantasy if we need it. Moving on to the tight end position here, we're going to have two names that came to mind for me. I'm going to start things off with Hunter Henry, probably my favorite option this week, although he and the guy I'll talk about next are really close. He gets to open week 1 with a matchup against the Raiders, who were the second worst defense against opposing tight ends in 2024. Pair that with a offense in New England that should be a lot better this season. We're all expecting Drake May to take that year 2 leap, and Hunter Henry is going to be a big beneficiary of that. We know he's a talented player. We've seen him perform in the past when he's been a part of good offenses, and if this Patriots offense ends up being good, I think Hunter Henry is going to be pretty good for fantasy. On top of that, Henry's got a legitimate shot to be the number 1 target in this offense. I know they brought over Stephon Diggs. I think there's some upside associated with Kyle Williams. You've got Pop Douglas there, but like there's no guarantee that Hunter Henry's not just the leading target getter in this offense. And if that's the case, then there's a lot of reasons to be super excited about him. We could easily see Hunter Henry start off strong. We've seen him start the season strong in the past, even on bad offenses. So typically a strong starter to start the season. Great matchup in week 1, and I think there's even potential upside all year long. So don't sleep on Hunter Henry. If you're streaming the position, I think you could do a lot worse than Henry in week 1. And this one, it's gross to say, but Kyle Pitts is a fantastic streaming option in week 1 this season. You've got Darnell Mooney likely inactive with a shoulder injury, so that just opens up more targets here. It makes Kyle Pitts a lot more necessary to this offense. Then you've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to Atlanta, this game that we've seen be a shootout in the past. Just go back last year, you saw Kirk Cousins throw for like 500 yards against the Buccaneers in this same game. This game could easily be a really fun shootout. This is a game, like every NFC South game, that is just between two at least competent offenses and really, really bad defenses. Puts you in a situation where you're going to see a lot of really fun scores. I think it's realistic to see Kyle Pitts potentially get 8 or more targets this week. That's great to see at the tight end position. And, in a game that's going to be this high scoring, he's got a great shot to score a touchdown. So I'd feel pretty good about starting Kyle Pitts as a guy that could easily be a fringe top 12 guy this week. And, we'll see this season. I really hope we could see Kyle Pitts come out and have a great year. I'm not going to bet on that by any means, but there is upside certainly if Drake London and this whole offense take a whole step forward. If we see Michael Penix be the quarterback that the Falcons sure think he is, or at least like they're acting he is, if he comes out and is actually dominant, Kyle Pitts should be the number 2 target in the offense to start the season, and he'll be really good, at least for that stretch, until Mooney comes back. Lastly, we've got 2 defenses I'm going to touch on. I will start off with the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm going to keep this one pretty short. Long story short here, they get to play the Saints. I think that's going to be a team that we're targeting every single week, no matter who the defense is against the Saints. It's probably going to be a pretty good matchup, whether it's Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck. There's nothing to be excited about if you're a Saints fan really this season. I'm sorry. Like Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, it's the best to have in this offense, but Kamara's on the wrong side of 30. Chris Olave, 1 concussion away from retirement, basically. You don't have a quarterback. The offensive line's bad. They're not going to go to run the ball very effectively. The Cardinals actually also don't have all that bad of a defense. They sort of trended up a lot towards the back half of last season. You might not believe me if I told you the Cardinals won 8 games last year. They were not a horrible team. And they drafted exclusively defensive players, right? They should be improved compared to last season. Their first 5-round selections were all defensive players, including a first-round defensive lineman. This is a team in Arizona that should be a lot better on the defensive side of the ball. They're not a team that you think of when you think of good defenses either. They're probably widely available. I've been targeting them in a lot of my drafts this offseason. It's because I typically am not going to take a defense until my last pick, defense or kicker if you're in a league with kickers. The Cardinals are always there for me if I need them. So a great option. I think you could do a lot worse. I think they'll probably be a really solid option in week 1. And then in week 2, they also play the Panthers if you need to go there. We'll see how good this Panthers offense is, but it's definitely been a team we could target at least so far on streaming. So keep that in mind as well for week 2. And the last team I'm going to mention here is going to be the New England Patriots. Honestly, an underrated defense that gets to take on a Raiders offense in week 1 that I think we could realistically see start slow, right? You've got disgruntled Jacoby Myers as the wide receiver 1 there. Ashton Jeanty, just new piece. A lot of new pieces in this offense, right? It's typical to see these teams with a lot of turnover from one season to the other at least start slow. I do think Pete Carroll and the Raiders are going to be a lot better than they were last season, but it's very reasonable to assume they're going to start slow. It's also not like we expect them to be world beaters, even though they should be better this season. So there's plenty of reason to not be worried about what the Raiders are going to do to us on offense. Pair that with the significant improvement the Patriots had just from a coaching standpoint. Going to Mike Vrabel as their new head coach, I think Mike Vrabel is a fantastic defensive head coach. We've seen him take pretty untalented teams. I mean, not completely untalented teams, but, he was the number 1 seed with the Tennessee Titans just like 5 or 6 years ago. He's a good head coach. He'll do the most with whatever talent he has. I think he's going to get a lot out of them. And again, this is a Raiders team that does not scare me. I think the Patriots will be a pretty good streaming option if you need them, and I would not feel worried at all about starting the Patriots in week 1. So that'll do it for the Streams of the Week video. Up next, I'll be doing starts and sits. So how that's going to go is I'm just going to go through every single game each week, go over what I feel about each of the fantasy-relevant players. I will try and touch on every single fantasy-relevant player, but of course, if there's someone I do end up missing in those, you're always welcome to let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to give you guys my opinion. I don't always want to mention the wide receiver 6 on a team, just in case. I don't want to talk about guys that aren't relevant, but if you're in an 18-team league or something, I'll be sure to give you guys my opinions on that stuff as well. Not doing these videos this week either, but next week there will be videos for waivers and trade candidates. No waivers really this week because you already drafted. Not a lot to talk about there. Not going to have a whole lot of new information until after this week. And then trade candidates as well. Nothing really to target until after week 1. So stay tuned for those. Those will typically be the 4 videos every single week. It should be a lot of fun. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a ton of content, like I just mentioned. Every single week, I'll be here all regular season long, and hopefully we can win some championships together. So I really appreciate you guys. It's been a lot of fun, and I will catch you guys for the next one. Thanks, guys. Peace. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out these other videos here if you haven't. If you want more content, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at RealSteelFFB. I'll be more active on there as the season goes on. Thanks. Catch you later.